Good evening, I'm Andrew Chang. Tonight, the fight to scale up testing in hard-hit provinces.
We don't want logistical or financial limitations.
Now is a time to fully reopen Parliament? That issue is here.
I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Also tonight, a new long-term care concern.
It was like a punch to the gut.
Removing a loved one for safety was easy. Getting the room back may not be.
It feels completely unjust.
Airlines and customers in a refund conflict.
And how's this for a summer blockbuster?
Oh my gosh, this is so awesome.
Drive on in, Back to the Future. This is The National.
Across Canada, even in the areas hit hardest by COVID-19, doors are creaking open. Businesses slowly coming back to life.
But as the spring air rushes in, so does the lingering question, are we ready for this? More than 1,000 people still test positive for COVID-19 every day, and yet there are still concerns we're not testing enough, especially in Ontario and Quebec, which together have more than 80% of the country's cases. As we increasingly work, shop, and visit public spaces again, opportunity for infection is rising, but that testing remains flat. Catherine Cullen digs into why, even at this critical moment, we are still struggling to see exactly what we're up against.
Cars may be lining up at this Toronto area drive-through testing centre, but it's not nearly enough, acknowledges Ontario's Premier.
I'm obsessed with this testing. As you can tell, I'm a little wound up today because I want to see the testing. Simple.
Thing is, Doug Ford has been pushing for more testing for weeks.
I'm going to be all over this testing. I'm like a dog on a bone on this. No more excuses. It's unacceptable.
But lately, the number of people being tested in Ontario has dipped. The figure released today is about half the province's target. Quebec's Premier François Legault says he's impatient to see a few thousand more daily tests in his hard-hit province.
We're testing a lot, but I want that we test more.
As communities across the country start to reopen, one doctors group has warned insufficient testing and tracing could leave everyone scrambling.
In my opinion, we're not fully prepared for a second wave.
But why has it been a challenge to get those testing numbers up?
There certainly continues to be issues with shortages of essential equipment.
And getting enough people to realize they can get a test if they need it.
I think it should be clearly publicized and emphasized and re-emphasized time and time again. The barrier to testing should be none.
As for the fix, Ford is promising much more widespread testing.
Let's go covering every Uber, every taxi driver, every limousine driver. Let's get them tested. Let's go into the food manufacturing facilities, these large facilities, get them tested.
Nationally, the Prime Minister is offering what he calls massive support.
We don't want logistical or financial limitations to keep anywhere in this country held back from doing all the testing that is necessary.
He says with federal help, he hopes to see an improvement immediately. Catherine Cullen, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now, immediately may not be fast enough. Even without a crystal clear look at the state of COVID-19, Ontario and Quebec are making the leap. And Thomas Daigle shows us how relief at reopening is for some tinged with tension, even fear.
Ontario's green thumbs are at it again, with garden centres among the first businesses to reopen, though with a hint of anxiety.
I would say the biggest problem is people keeping social space. People tend not to listen.
It's too early to tell whether partially restarting the economy will accelerate the spread of the coronavirus, but this public health expert does worry.
The reopening has progressed in a much less gradual fashion than I had envisioned it. Our hospitals still have over 100 COVID patients, at least in Mississauga alone.
And consider these figures. Over the past week, Ontario has seen its daily number of new confirmed infections slowly but steadily climb, with another 413 today. And Quebec is still observing more infections than anywhere else in Canada, including 720 new cases there today. Food for thought at the Garden Centre.
If we lock everybody down, our economy is just gonna tank.
So it's time to come back. Unfortunately, people are going to die doing it.
The premiers of Ontario and Quebec both warned they'll reimpose restrictions if need be. Quebec announced plans to open day camps on time in June, and the government is already lifting shutdowns of provincial parks. But that's not gone as planned in Oka, where local Mohawks have been preventing cars from coming in.
They're going to come from highly infected areas to possibly bring this virus here.
This is quite a difficult period.
The chief public health officer warns of so-called quarantine fatigue across the country.
We have to be really cautious because it might not take much for another chain of transmission and an escalation to occur.
With warnings of a second wave in the coming months, a reminder that in some parts, the first wave isn't over yet. Thomas Dagle, CBC News, Toronto.
The Prime Minister announced new money for a population that critics say has been overlooked during the pandemic: Indigenous Canadians who live off reserve.
If you live off reserve or in a city, we're working to make sure you don't fall through the cracks.
He announced $75 million in new funding for community groups that supply everything from groceries to mental health services. Just a tiny fraction of Ottawa's earlier package of pandemic funding was directed to off-reserve organizations, despite serving more than half the Indigenous population.
Thousands of Canadians whose trips were canceled due to COVID-19 say they are being treated unfairly by the airlines. They want refunds. They're being offered vouchers valid for 2 years. But as Ashley Burke explains, in this unprecedented time, the airlines have some support.
To me, it feels like the airlines are taking people as fools.
Ryn DeRosier says it was practically a full-time job fighting to get her money back.
I feel completely disgusted and disheartened by this whole experience.
She called off her family's trip to Cuba in March because of the pandemic. Sunwing originally promised a refund, then later said only a travel voucher was possible.
I feel that the airlines are essentially taking interest-free loans from Canadians. It feels completely unjust.
It's just very, very unfair.
The pandemic closed down Shona Chapman's hair salon. She says a travel credit from WestJet for her Mexico vacation won't pay her mounting bills.
We've had to defer car payments and things.
That anger is growing and being aimed at Parliament. Petitions with more than 25,000 signatures have been submitted. One calls on the government to require airlines to issue refunds if they tap into government aid.
I'm saying before they receive any financial aid from the government, i.e. us, the taxpayers, they should pay back the money that they owe to people who need it right now.
The Canadian Transportation Agency has said that it could be reasonable to issue vouchers during such extraordinary times. And the Minister of Transport has also said that the health of airlines is a priority after it lost 95% of revenue.
They're in a world of hurt at the moment. And so we have to take that into consideration, given the fact that we want that industry to survive and to rebuild and to resume operations.
Today, the Prime Minister said the government has to strike a delicate balance.
This is an important issue to Canadians that we are working with the airlines and with Canadians concerned on.
While CBC News was at DeRosier's home, her complaint was finally resolved.
The total of the refund is $23.85.
Having been refunded doesn't negate all the aggravation and all the anger that I still feel.
She doesn't see travel anywhere in her family's future, certainly not until there's a vaccine. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Well, regardless of which way the November U.S. election goes, it's likely Michigan will be a big factor. And the U.S. president paid that state a visit today. He was there to tout his self-proclaimed success in tackling the pandemic. But as Susan Ormiston tells us, it was Trump's ongoing feud with state leaders that took center stage.
Michigan is battling catastrophe on top of pandemic. Floodwaters still surging over homes from 2 broken dams, forcing tens of thousands of people on the move.
Like anything we've seen before, the damage is truly devastating.
Governor Whitmer, a Democrat, has to navigate a flood and a feud with President Trump, who arrived in Michigan today not to tour flooded areas, but to visit a Ford plant making ventilators and face shields. In what sounded like a campaign stop.
And I'm thrilled to be back in Michigan.
This week, Trump threatened to withdraw federal funding if Michigan continued with mail-in balloting for the November election.
We're not going to go to voting by mail. Voting by mail is wrought with fraud and abuse.
Threatening to take money away from a state that is hurting as bad as we are right now is just scary, and I think is something that is unacceptable.
The president's been at war with the governor since March.
Michigan, all she does is she has no idea what's going on, and all she does is say, oh, it's the federal government's fault.
He cheered on protesters who demanded the state reopen faster. And now, with the flood, Michigan needs federal help, and Trump's all in.
Americans are praying for central Michigan. We're going to take care of your problem.
All this a pretext for the 2020 election, a battleground state which Republicans won, last time by just a hair. As for the mask question, everyone at the Ford plant, including the executive chairman, wore a mask as per company rules. Trump said he did wear one briefly, but he didn't want to give the press the pleasure of seeing him in one. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Washington.
One of the countries hit hardest by COVID-19 reopened for business this week after more than 2 months in lockdown. Italy's reopening comes as deaths there hover near the lowest level since early March, 156 in the past day. Nearly half of its 32,000 recorded COVID deaths have been in the Lombardy region. This week, shops, salons, and restaurants welcomed their first customers in more than 2 months. And as Megan Williams shows us, businesses in Italy's design and fashion capital, Milan, are fighting COVID with style.
Life after lockdown bursting out into the open, especially here in hard-hit Milan, Italy's financial capital. The city is laying down more than 30 kilometers of bike paths to stop overcrowding on public transit.
Le alternative al trasporto pubblico.
We need to focus on alternatives to cars, says City Councillor Marco Granelli, and that means bikes, electric motorcycles, and car sharing. Milan is also loosening rules on dining al fresco, allowing more tables outdoors.
Signori, buon appetito.
Grazie.
And a city famous for design, creative solutions to diners' safety.
Poi anche là hanno fatto sicuramente.
The first customer here says it's strange to eat with his son across a plexiglass divide, but necessary for now.
Ci siamo documentati su un po' con I ristoranti di Wuhan.
Owner Dario Triscari says he got the idea during lockdown when he went online to see what restaurants in Wuhan, China were doing. After weeks of closure and strict limits on the number of clients at one time, it will be tough for many businesses to survive. But for some, like fashion designer Eleonora Spadafora, a creative response to the pandemic has led to surprising success. Her face masks that match outfits are selling as fast as she can make them. It was important for us not to lose this Italian tradition of the artisanal, of creating something beautiful out of an everyday item, she says. Renowned architect Patrizia Viel says she hopes Milan will continue to lead the way.
So this idea of sharing a big disaster, I think that this will improve the sense of, let's say, be on the same boat.
She's hoping that a more creative, open city will emerge from this traumatic experience. Megan Williams, CBC News, Milan.
Italy has moved to recognize some of its most vulnerable frontline workers in this pandemic, offering temporary work permits to undocumented migrants who work on farms and with the elderly. Now, there's a push here in Canada to help asylum seekers doing some of those same risky jobs. Alison Northcott has that story.
This woman recently recovered from COVID-19. She believes she caught the virus through her work in a long-term care home.
I know it's always to get sick and it's a dangerous disease, but I'm willing going because to show my gratitude to this country.
CBC News has agreed to conceal her identity. She's an asylum seeker originally from Haiti. She came to Quebec last year, passing through the unofficial border crossing at Roxham Road. She got a work permit and a job as an orderly, but she knows there's no guarantee her refugee claim will be accepted.
It's a kind of stressful because that's why I'm really restrained to make friends just in case I have to leave.
There are growing calls for the federal and provincial governments to recognize asylum seekers doing frontline work during the pandemic. Some community groups in Quebec estimate there are hundreds of them in this province alone.
They're the one contributing, they're the one taking care of our parents. Please, let's give them amnesty, let's give them an opportunity to say, welcome to Canada, we thank you for what you're doing.
He's launched a petition calling on the federal government to create a program to help asylum seekers get permanent residency faster. In a statement, the Federal Immigration Ministry said all eligible asylum claimants receive a full and fair hearing on the individual merits of their claim.
We need them. We are lucky to have them.
Quebec's premier says there's a process to follow.
There are some rules for the people who would like to become immigrants. And there are some rules regarding the asylum seeker.
This woman says she understands that.
That will be a sign of gratitude, and also that will make a huge difference in the world, this act of humanity.
For now, she'll continue to work, hoping her claim is eventually accepted. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
Members of the Canadian Forces have also been helping out in long-term care homes, both in Quebec and Ontario. And today we learned their infection numbers have spiked. 28 members have now tested positive for the virus, 16 in Quebec and 12 in Ontario. Less than a week ago, the Department of National Defence was reporting just 5 cases. It says all necessary training and safety precautions are in place. When the virus started ravaging Ontario long-term care homes, killing residents by the hundreds, many families did the one thing they thought could save their loved one's life. They pulled them out, thinking they could return when the outbreaks cleared. But as David Common shows us, people are now finding out it is not that simple.
You want to play with me?
When Pamela Johnson pulled her mom, Doreen, from a care home 2 months ago, she thought it might save her life.
Your heart tells you to get your family out of long-term care as quickly as possible. I'm going to go over here.
She did so believing her mom could return when things got safer. Experts also recommended leaving. The province issued an emergency order allowing it. But with Pamela preparing to return to work, she's been told her mom's room isn't hers anymore.
The director of care told me that my mom no longer has a space at her home and that they were packing up her things and I could come and pick them up. So, that was devastating. It was like a punch to the gut.
Ontario's emergency order puts returnees at the top of the wait list, but it doesn't guarantee the same room, even perhaps the same home. Many believe that policy wasn't clearly explained and is confusing now. Pamela's been paying $2,000 for the empty room every month. Now that money's being returned.
I think if anybody thought that they could secure a place by continuing to pay for a room, they would probably do it.
Many families pulled their elders out in the early days when the death rate soared.
At the time,
lawyer and advocate Jane Meadis says those trying to send their loved ones back may find out they aren't welcome.
I think that there was a lot of confusion, but at the end of the day, the ministry should have been telling people in those homes and the homes themselves exactly what the rules were.
What color should we put on?
With wait lists for care already long, Pamela believes she's facing consequences for trying to do the right thing.
Does that mean she's going to be living here for a year? Does that mean I have to quit my job and be home?
The uncertainty is Pamela's worry now, though thankfully her mother is safe. David Common, CBC News, Kingston, Ontario.
Well, there are fears of violence tonight in Hong Kong as Beijing threatens a crackdown.
I just want to say to the international community that this is the end of Hong Kong.
Next on The National, the strict new security measures aimed at stopping protests that could do just the opposite.
And later, what's old is new again in the age of COVID-19, the comeback of the drive-in movie theater.
I haven't been to one ever since I was little, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome.
And no physical distancing here.
Hi. How are you?
A moment with a moose. We're back in 2. Cleanup efforts have begun in large swaths of coastal India and Bangladesh after Cyclone Amphan tore through the region, killing at least 80 people. The storm destroyed villages, knocked down trees, and brought down power lines, leaving millions in the dark. And officials say the full extent of the damage remains to be seen. Well, Beijing is about to impose harsh new security measures on Hong Kong, and pro-democracy activists there say it could spell the end of Hong Kong as we know it. The measures are intended to tamp down rising protests, but as Sasha Petrusik tells us, it's possible they'll have the opposite effect.
As leaders and delegates gathered for the People's Congress, the biggest political event in China, their main target was Hong Kong. We will stop violence and restore order, Congress Chairman Wang Yang declared, signaling that any autonomy that was promised Hong Kong under an arrangement called One Country, Two Systems could soon be revoked. In light of the new circumstances, this is highly necessary, said the Congress spokesman. China seems ready to outlaw what it considers sedition and terrorism with a National Security Act aimed at stopping Hong Kong's pro-democracy forces. The millions who took part in protests against China's encroachment on democratic rights last year. Those started as legal and peaceful demonstrations, deteriorating as both protesters and police became more violent. Continuing even now in malls, despite widespread arrests. And now resulting in pro-democracy lawmakers being physically removed from Hong Kong's legislature this week when they tried to block the Beijing-backed leadership. They reacted angrily to Beijing's latest move, calling this the saddest day in Hong Kong history.
I just want to say to the international community that this is the end of Hong Kong. This is the end of one country, two systems. Make no mistake about it, that Beijing, the Central People's Government, has completely breached its promise to the Hong Kong people.
Over the past year, China's made many threats against the protesters, only to trigger more defiance in Hong Kong and more popular support for the movement. Beijing's most dramatic step yet isn't likely to end the unrest. Sasha Petrusik, CBC News, Tokyo.
Actress Lori Loughlin and her husband have agreed to plead guilty in the U.S. college admissions scandal. If approved, the plea deal would see the Full House actress serve 2 months in jail, while her fashion designer husband would serve 5. The pair, who had initially pleaded not guilty, are among dozens charged with conspiring to use bribery and fraud to get their children into top schools. They have also agreed to pay fines totaling $400,000.
How does it feel to be out? How you doing?
Former Donald Trump attorney Michael Cohen returned to New York City today after spending about a year in federal prison. Cohen is serving a 3-year sentence for lying to Congress and campaign finance fraud, but was released due to COVID-19 concerns. He will serve the remainder of his sentence at home. And here's something you definitely won't see too often: a short-lived tornado touching down on Vancouver Island. A security camera caught the moment strong winds suddenly formed a funnel just north of Victoria, launching a trampoline into the sky. Environment Canada says it looks to be an EF0 tornado, the weakest of all. Ahead tonight, Rosie is here with that issue. While parts of Canada reopen, is it time for Parliament to do the same? Chantal and Andrew weigh in.
We're also going to have a doctor in to answer your questions about COVID-19. And we get all kinds of questions. Some of them we get over and over again. This is one of them that we just haven't answered yet, but tonight's the night. My grandson asked me if flatulence could carry COVID-19. Interesting answer after this. Hey, welcome back. Okay, time for your COVID-19 questions. Lots on the minds of Canadians, so we're going to get right to it. I'm joined by infectious diseases specialist Dr. Lenora Saxinger. And Dr. Saxinger, the first question that we've got tonight is actually particularly for you. Last week, Dr. Saxinger said it would be acceptable to have a house cleaner in one's home as long as social distancing is maintained. Should I be concerned if my house cleaner has to take public transit to travel to my house?
I think that's an interesting wrinkle because I guess there's two parts of it. One is what's the background rate in the community? What's the risk of public transit? and what's the risk of you basically getting infection from someone who has elevated risk from public transit. So it depends on your community, and if there's very low community risk, I think the public transit risk is going to be lower. And there's one very interesting study that I'd recently come across looking at transmission to contacts, and 10% of household contacts, like prolonged close contact, were infected. 1% of healthcare contacts were infected, and 0.1% of public transit-related contacts were infected in one study in one place, which suggests that although the risk is not zero, it's not extremely high. And so I think there's a bit of a context to it, and it depends, again, on what's going on in your community. So that's a judgment call, and I think it is likely okay as well.
Right. Yeah, and I understand these are sort of difficult answers to give questions to give very specific answers to. Here's another one. My grandson asked me if flatulence could carry COVID-19. After laughing, we agreed that it was a valid question. So, could flatulence carry and disperse COVID-19? Thanks.
Okay, well, after laughing, I guess that is a valid question, because there has been some research lately suggesting that although we knew we could find viral fragments in the stool, that you can also possibly find a viable, cultivatable virus in the stool. And so I can see why the question would arise. I guess the real question is how much could virus in the stool make it to you inhaling it in the setting of flatulence? And I think both the volume of emissions is much lower than, for example, from the air in your chest. And also there's a built-in protection in the form of clothes. There is a bit of literature on this with bacteria suggesting that underpants will filter bacteria out of flatulence. And so there might be a similar protective effect here. So I think that the risk would be really negligible and should not be a big concern ultimately.
I would never have known that had the question not been asked. So thank you to the viewer for that. Dr. Saxinger, thanks so much for your time. Okay, as we've mentioned, we'll be asking your questions, all kinds of questions about COVID-19 every night going forward, so send them in. You can message us directly on Instagram at CBC The National, or send us an email at covid@cbc.ca. Just be sure to put The National in the subject line.
Shopify, one of Canada's top companies, will have staff work from home as much as possible, even after pandemic restrictions end.
This isn't something that just Shopify is going to feel. I believe this is a tidal wave that is hitting all companies. You see it all over the industry right now.
The Ottawa-based e-commerce giant says it is shifting to a digital by default model, meaning its 5,000 employees will be able to work from home for good. Shopify says all its offices will remain closed until 2021 so they can be reconfigured for this new reality. COVID-19 has most of us also thinking about financial health these days, but in Alberta, the quest to fire up the economy's engine long predated the pandemic. Jason Kenney swept to power on promises of a return to oil and gas glory. Aaron Collins looks at the impact that's had on other sectors.
2020 hasn't been kind to Canada's oil patch. A slowdown in global demand put the squeeze on the sector. Bad news for Jason Kenney. His UCP rode to power, promising to restore the patch to its former glory and refill Calgary's oil and gas towers. Well, it hasn't happened, but not due to a lack of trying. The UCP slashed corporate tax rates, even bought part of the Keystone XL pipeline. But some worry that focus on oil and gas has come at the expense of diversifying the economy and growing the tech sector.
So I would put a lot of emphasis on the opportunities to grow those companies, to fill those towers. I think the opportunity there is greater than any other sector of our economy today.
While the province spent billions to raise the fortunes of the oil patch, it cut programs designed to boost tech. Now there are worries those local startups will leave. A troubling notion after some local companies had started to taste success. This startup just raised more than $50 million to develop a bill collecting app. Another homegrown tech firm was sold last year for $1 billion. Now the province is asking experts how it can help more tech companies grow.
There's still lots that's happening here, but how do we make sure we can go from that to being the most competitive jurisdiction in Canada?
For many, like this U.S. video game company, the answer is simple. Bring back the government tax credits that lured them to the city in the first place. Tax credits the company's CEO believes could be back.
Perhaps now the new realities with COVID and what's happened in the energy sector may encourage that investment, so to speak.
The province says the tech sector will be key to Alberta's post-COVID economic recovery. What's less clear is whether or not they're willing to spend more to turn that diversification dream into an economic reality. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.
Ahead tonight, an old school comeback compliments of COVID-19.
Everybody knows the drive-ins are a thing, I'd say.
A night out at the drive-in at a distance. We'll look at how the summer blockbuster season will look a little different this year.
Next, though, Rosie's here with At Issue.
Andrew, tonight the panel will talk about whether it's time for Parliament to return and what that could look like. More in-person sittings, virtual meetings, and holding the government to account in this new normal. That is next with Chantal and Andrew. This is what Parliament used to look like, but at the start of the pandemic, the House of Commons suspended all regular sittings, going from a full House to eventually a select few and creating a virtual special COVID-19 committee. But with the current agreement set to expire and provinces reopening, is it time for Parliament to do the same? It's Thursday, and I am here with At Issue Chantal Hébert, Andrew Coyne, and Althea Raj. We had some technical difficulties with her tonight, so we will give her extra time to talk about her thoughts next week. Okay, I'll start with you, Chantal. The deadline for this current agreement to suspend the House is up on Monday. Do you, from what you're seeing with the virtual committee or this in-person committee once a week, do you think that we need more, that we need to go further and allow more of Parliament to resume in a more regular way?
Yes, more of Parliament. No return to normal, I don't think is in the works. I think it would be interesting to have a hybrid formula that would see more people physically in the House, but also access for people who can't through screens. Whether that's going to happen on the same regular House of Commons schedule, possibly not realistic, having the whole House back as it was. I think there are lots of logistical issues traveling from further, west or east. Some MPs live in hotels. Not so sure that there are many hotels waiting to welcome them. Right. Go down the list, and then a lot of people who work on the Hill have kids who are still not in school or daycare.
Yeah, so all the logistical things aside, Andrew, does the conversation need to be different? Would it change anything in terms of the conversation between the opposition parties and the government at this stage?
Yes, it absolutely would. I mean, there's a reason why every legislative chamber in the world outside of a pandemic meets together in a single chamber with everyone present, because that's how you focus attention. That's how you hold ministers' feet to the fire, by exposing them to the glare of public scrutiny. So yes, there are particular logistical problems that Chantal has run down. It means we can't have 338 MPs, but we can certainly have more than we have had and more sittings than we have had. Maybe in this hybrid thing is something worth exploring. But the longer this goes on, and as other things start to open, the more one begins to suspect that the government's reticence on this has less to do with its concern for the safety and health of MPs and more to do with convenience, because it certainly gives the Prime Minister most of the public attention as he announces day after day new spending programs. But here we are with opposition MPs barely able to get a hearing, barely able to ask questions, certainly not in a format that anybody's going to pay much attention to, while the government's spending tens of billions of dollars, it seems like every week, and we still don't have an economic update or anything approaching a budget. So this has gone on long enough, it seems to me.
What would it? But what would it change in terms of the subject matter? Like today, for instance, there was a question about the Harrington Lake renovations, and the government said, "Well, we're not answering that. This is a COVID-19 committee." I'm not sure that in a question period or a regular sitting that they would have said anything different. That they would have said more. That they would have actually given a full answer. So what does it practically change? Do you think, Chantal and then Andrew? Chantal, then Andrew. Yeah.
I think everyone in every way is pining to go back to normal. I don't believe that even if you have the House of Commons meeting physically more than it is meeting, that suddenly it's going to change the dynamics between the government and the opposition parties. I also believe that at this juncture, it would be a misreading of public opinion to believe that Canadians are craving a return to more partisan politics. So if and when that does happen, the House comes back, and I agree that it should, the onus is going to be not only on the government to be accountable, but on the opposition parties to demonstrate that there is a reason to be there, that we will not go back to the day the World Health Organization declared a pandemic, and the official opposition was interested in every topic but that.
Yeah, that's true, that the onus is also on the opposition to make this work and to ask good questions. Andrew?
Yeah, the government has been able to say, oh, you can only ask questions about the COVID pandemic. You're not going to ask us other questions about other matters. That's got to change as well. I mean, yes, the pandemic is the single most important issue facing the country, but there are other things that are also happening, and the opposition has a perfect right to be probing and asking about those questions. And again, so far as logistics allow, that's got to be part of the return to semi-normalcy. We're not going back to 338 MPs anytime soon, but we can certainly do something that's much more approximating Parliament as we know it and either love it or despise it.
Well, I would also suggest that the government opened the door to that. Did they not, when they moved forward on those gun regulations and then put forward the other things that they were going to do in the future? But changing the regulations around military style or assault style weapons almost allowed the opposition to have an argument to say, well, you're doing other things too. Why can't we come out and have a conversation around that?
Of course,
yes,
exactly right.
Yeah, Chantal, go ahead.
But careful here that this doesn't, increasingly sound like a conversation in the bubble and removed from reality. Partisan politics is one thing, but constructive debate is, I think, what many Canadians are looking for at this point. To start a conversation on the tone of the ads that I've been seeing on the social media, for instance, from the official opposition saying Justin Trudeau has failed you. I'm not sure that that will do very much either to get Canada forward or for the opposition parties or the Conservatives to look like a responsible alternative government.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Go ahead, Andrew.
No disagreement there, but there's a difference between saying the Parliament's not functioning in the way that we would always desire, the opposition parties are not always behaving as we would wish they would. Same goes for the government, but that's not an argument, seems to me, for leaving Parliament effectively shuttered. It's not pretty, but it's the only Parliament we've got.
Let me just ask you in a minute's time whether you think that the government is, outside of this conversation, being transparent enough with its actions and its decisions and how it's moving forward, Andrew.
No. And there's this particular matter of, and again, allowing for some of the difficulties in forecasting, but again, it's been several weeks now, many weeks. At some point, the government has got to start saying, what is the shape of the budget that we're facing? How much are they prepared to spend? What is their plan to try to get a handle on that, to try to eventually rein it in? We need to start seeing what their plan is. They've scrambled well. They've reacted to events in the moment. Everyone understands how tough it was in those first few weeks. But we're out of the emergency, crisis moment right now, and we're now getting into the longer term, and they have to start leveling with us.
Chantal.
I'm not as harsh on the government on transparency. I believe many things are still very much in flux. I'm not sure that we are so much out of the crisis as adjusting to it. And I am not convinced that with all the energies that the government has expended on managing the day-to-day uncertainties, that it is in a shape to come up with informed answers on that. And I'm not saying that that's because they don't want to give them. I believe that they don't have them. They need the time to work on them for those answers to be worth more than the paper they're written on or whatever shape they take.
Okay, thank you both very much. Appreciate it. Althea will, of course, be back next week. We'll get all of that sorted. Be sure to subscribe to At Issue, the podcast. This week, we're going to talk about how governments might be preparing for that second wave. I know it's hard to contemplate, but it's there. Look for it on any major podcast app, our website, cbcnews.ca/The National. And with that, I'll throw it back to Adrian and Andrew in Toronto.
And next on The National, this could be the summer of the drive-in.
There's some people that literally haven't left their house since the middle of March, and the drive-in has been their first outing.
From the snacks to the screen, a night at the movies is going to look a little different this year. What's old is new again. Drive-ins are making a comeback in this era of physical distancing. Take the Toronto Zoo, currently closed due to COVID-19, but it's reopening Saturday to vehicles only.
This experience would have people driving in the front gate, actually navigating the existing walking paths, service roads, and Zoomobile route.
The team behind Immersive Van Gogh has converted a Toronto warehouse into a drive-in exhibit. And instead of canceling a whole summer of shows, Ontario rock band July Talk is planning a couple of concerts at a Toronto area drive-in movie lot.
It's gotta be a blast, especially if kids come, you know, being able to, you'll always remember like honking at a band.
When you find your keys I stole.
Now, actual drive-in movie theaters are having a moment too. They're opening up across the country while making their own COVID-19 accommodations. Eli Glasner shows us.
They drive for hours to get to the Twilight Drive-In, lining up before the sun sets.
That's 6 years of operation. It used to be a 5, I just started. Yeah.
Opening night brings a mix of regulars.
Everybody knows the drive-in's our thing, I'd say.
And those who've been away for years.
I haven't been to one ever since I was little, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome.
And we're self-contained as well, like everybody's in their own vehicle.
This year, a later opening date isn't the only thing that's changed.
They usually park as tight as they can get. Now it's 5 meters apart. And of course the concession, a limited concession, we can't go into concession, they take out only.
In Flin Flon, Manitoba, 500 customers showed up to watch movies under the stars on opening weekend.
There's some people that literally haven't left their house since the middle of March, and the drive-in has been their first outing.
But in PEI, owner Bob Boyle is discovering there's nothing normal about operating in the age of COVID.
Well, because we're operating at half capacity of what we normally will, obviously we're going to be taking an attendance hit, as well as then we'll have increased staffing costs because of all the, increased sanitization.
But not all operations are allowed to open right now. At this drive-in outside Toronto, they're still waiting for the okay from the province. And then there's the issue of, well, what to show.
This is going to be a blockbuster movie season without any blockbusters.
From Black Widow to Mulan, every major movie release has been delayed, except for the time-warping action film Tenet, still scheduled for July.
Welcome to the afterlife.
While Hollywood waits to see if audiences will brave the movie theaters, drive-ins are popping up all across North America.
Now it's really the only thing going. And I asked people why they were there. And they said it didn't matter what movie was there, they just wanted to get together in public.
An old-fashioned form of entertainment, offering a new way forward. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Oakville, Ontario.
So good. Next on The National, it's not unusual for hikers in Newfoundland to come across a moose. But what about a moose this curious? Our moment is next. So this moose in Newfoundland apparently didn't quite get the message about physical distancing and then surprised a hiker by getting up close and very personal. Ashley Walsh is used to seeing moose when she hikes, but this experience was unlike any other, and so that is our moment.
Me and my dog were just walking through, just doing our normal daily hike. We happened to just come up on 2 moose that were in the trail. We were watching the 2 moose, and then all of a sudden, I guess the moose was one of them were really, really curious. So he started to come over and started walking towards me and making eye contact with me. Then all of a sudden, the moose just came right up to me, and I was able to actually kind of touch his little nose and stuff too, which was super cool.
Hello. Hi. How's it going? Hi.
He just kind of gave us a little sniff and sniffed my dog, and then he just kind of went on his way. Tried to stay as calm and collected as possible. I definitely couldn't believe it happened. I was like, I can't. So I sent the video to my mom right away, and I was like, Mom, I just got to touch a moose. This never happens. And my mom was she was lost for words. She couldn't believe it.
Yeah, see, I'm at a loss for words too, because I've been up close with moose in the wild while on hikes as well. And you're not nervous until you realize how big they are and how quickly they can move, either away from you or towards you. A little nervousness might be a good thing.
Well, I would have been very calm because I certainly would have lost consciousness if that thing had come close to me. But it wasn't just Ashley who was calm. Apparently her dog was with her and she said to the dog, be calm. And the dog was. I did not know it actually was that easy to make that happen. That is a national for May 21st. Good night.
Good night.